Over the last 2 days, NFL teams showed signs of solidarity as a response to President Trump saying that the players that protest the anthem should be fired or suspended. Yesterday, Gregg Popovich gave his thoughts on the president's comments. Let's take a listen.
Our country's an embarrassment in the world. This is an individual who actually thought that when people held arms during the games that they were doing it to honor the flag. That's delusional. Absolutely delusional, but it's what we have to live with. I just heard a comment this morning from a NASCAR owner and from Mr. Petty that just blew me away. Just blew me away, where the owner described the fact that he would get the Greyhound bus tickets for anybody to leave and they'd be fired, and Mr. Petty who said people who act the way we saw on Sunday, they should leave the country. That's where I live. I had no idea that I lived in a country where people would actually say that sort of thing. I'm not totally naive, but I think these people have been enabled by an example that we've all been given.
I'm joined once again by Rob Parker, but first, Shannon, what did you make of Pop's comments?
I loved it. Because finally we got a white guy that's echoing the sentiments that so many blacks have been saying for years and years and hundreds of years. He also, we didn't pick it up in there, he says, we don't know how fortunate we are to be born white. He says it's almost as if you're running a 100-meter race, but you're starting at the 50-meter mark. So you're halfway home. This is what he said. He said it shocked him. He couldn't believe that Mr. Richard Petty, NASCAR's greatest driver, 7-time NASCAR champ, 200 career races. Everybody knows him. The 43 STP car, you know, drove Dodge. Everybody, the Super. Ask if I can tell you all about it. Everybody knows him. Gregg Popovich said he was shocked that because he wants America to be better and to be what she said she would be, that you should leave. He's like, I live here. Russia didn't make me this promise on their constitution and their flag. Venezuela, China, Japan did not make the promises that America made on paper and what that Stars and Stripes represent. The president said he wanted to make America great again. So if he's going to make it great again, meaning that it's not great now, no one told him to leave. But when people say we want America to be better, yes, it's great, but we believe she can be better. Well, if you don't like it, leave. I shouldn't have to leave my country, Derek Wolf. I shouldn't have to leave my country. Anybody that says I should leave because I have complaints, because I believe she can be better. All Gregg Popovich did, guys, was say and echo. He been watching our show. I love Coach Pop. That's my new team. They my second favorite team.
Oh, he's stealing your team.
They my second favorite team. He's my favorite coach right now. He's my new favorite coach.
Good, you can have him.
No, you got to go. You got to go. Because the Spurs only got one bandwagon for one of us, me or you, and you got to go. But all he said is that, look, you don't know how fortunate you are to be born white in America. And if you're born white and male in America, now you're running 100 meters, and now you're at the 80-meter mark. Scared. Woo! Gregg Popovich, I love you, man.
Coach Pop, smart, honest, consistent, and passionate. And the thing that I love the most is that you don't have to be black to want equality, fairness, this whole notion that people don't get it. They get it. Because it's just about, you want to be treated fairly and the way everybody's being treated. That's all. That's all. Not different, not better, just fair. And I think that when I hear him talk about this, he's been very consistent about where he is, his beliefs. And there are other people who get it, that it's just, this is what people want, and it's worth fighting for. It's worth talking about. It just is. So many people, what are you afraid of to have the conversation that everybody wants to be treated equally? I just don't, please help me. How is that going to be the end of your world or your privileged world, how does that alter anything that you're doing? I don't get it. And this whole notion that, you know, basically when they say leave the country, it's basically, you know, underlying of, hey, we'll put you back on the boat to send you back to Africa. Exactly. Go back to where you came from.
I came from Chicago.
Yeah. First of all, the only thing is, let me see. Native Americans were here. We all came from somewhere else. All of us. So this whole notion that this is somebody's country and we're the foreigners and we just showed up and if you don't like it here, hey, get back on the boat and go back out.
Yeah.
Stop it with that.
Go watch the current movie Wind River and tell me what you think of that, speaking of Native Americans.
I'll go check that out.
Now back to Coach Popovich. I liked and believed in a whole lot of what Coach Popovich said, but I've said this before and I'm going to say it again right here, right now. I have lost so much respect for him over the way he treats people over the years that I no longer completely trust what he is saying. Because when you treat people the way he does, you reveal your character or lack thereof.
You mean media members? Is that what you're saying?
Okay. That's where it starts.
Okay.
But you've talked to me throughout the show about be careful about that shell game. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you to be careful about the shell game that he's playing right now. And you're right. Over the years, I've been so offended because Gregg Popovich has gotten away with treating members of the media, you're a member now, with no dignity, no regard. He shames them, he ridicules them, he embarrasses them in front of their peers and sometimes on national TV and post-game press conferences. And he basically bullies them, and he gets away with it because somehow, some way, people started saying, that's just lovable old curmudgeon Pop. No, it's not. It's a guy who's been given a pass for treating people with absolutely no respect. And I have lost so much respect for him because of that. And he's revealing, again, his character to the point that, here we go, when he needs the platform that he constantly complains about having to sit on to do interviews, he turns it into a bully pulpit. And it's fine. It's his right and priority to do that. Mm-hmm. And he attacks the president of the United States, which is fine because he's a Democrat and he spoke out for Hillary Clinton, voted for Hillary Clinton. I got no problem with that. But there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here because this is the same Gregg Popovich who over the last, 4 or 5 years said, as soon as Timmy walks out that door, I'm walking right behind him. Tim Duncan. We now enter year 2 of the San Antonio Spurs without Tim Duncan, who retired, walked into the sunset and out that door. And Gregg Popovich is still collecting his $11 million a year. So he did not put his money where his mouth was.
Yeah, that's his speech. That's his speech. That'd be like Coach Belichick said,
right,
well, as soon as Tom leaves, I'm leaving.
So I'm going to be hypercritical here. Let's watch the shell game. What is the lifeblood of Gregg Popovich's $11 million job? It's the ability to recruit great black basketball players to come and play for him in San Antonio, Texas. Because you need an occasional LaMarcus Aldridge or well, that's not recruiting. You draft right. But every once in a while, they've gone after some big free agents.
But you got to keep him.
Huh?
You got to keep him.
But again,
so you're saying
you're playing to that crowd, man.
You're saying that he's playing to the black crowd that is the NBA?
Yeah. And then for him to blast the NASCAR owner and Richard Petty, that's fine. That's his right to do it. But then to conclude, this is where I live. You live in a country that is free, that has a First Amendment right to freedom of speech that the NASCAR owner and Richard Petty also have the same right that you have. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to honor their right to speak out because it's not what you believe? That's just flat out wrong. And if you want to pin your hopes on somebody, on a white man, let's do Steve Kerr because he's been just as outspoken against Donald Trump as Gregg Popovich has. And I've been around Steve Kerr enough to tell you he has a big, good, solid heart. He treats everybody around him with nothing but dignity and respect, starting with the media and anybody else who comes into his force field. Steve Kerr is known by everybody as a really solid citizen.
And I'll say this about Pop, and your point is well taken.
Yep.
It really is. Mm-hmm. But Skip, people are not perfect, and people do have their issues
flaws.
And flaws or whatever. So your flaws on him. But do I believe that this coach speak or his conversation is to recruit that he's playing to the black crowd to recruit players in the NBA? I don't believe that. I believe that he believes in equality and fairness and treating people the same.
I would like to believe that.
I believe that, and I think that's where his heart is speaking when I hear that.
This? How many white head coaches and owners have echoed that sentiment? How many of their players are black? How do they recruit black players? Yet they've said nothing and done nothing. At least he's speaking it. A man that's unaffected. Skip, here it is. The thing that I love about him, he's not going to be face brutality. He's not going to be discriminated against. He's a white man, as you mentioned, making $11 million, and he's speaking about an issue.
He is.
When
I believe in all of his points.
So
I don't know if I completely trust the motive, the method to his madness, as in anger.
Okay. We gotta leave it there. Rob, thanks for joining us. Does Alabama look unbeatable after their win on Saturday? We'll discuss that next.